So today I want to talk to you about a girl. We haven't talked about too many girls, have we? Talked about Sarah once and Hagar. Lot's daughters, we kind of mentioned them, but we really haven't spent a whole lesson just on a girl. But aren't girls second class? Aren't girls less than? Are you sure? Oh. Is a girl's voice just as important as a boy's voice? Are you sure? Yeah. In Yeshua, there's no male-female. There's no slave king. There's no Jew Gentile. There's under the blood. Okay? All right. So, after Isaac's great giving of himself, right? Hineni, right? He and Abraham, Hineni. He lives a little bit, and then he loses his mama. You think he loved his mama? I do. See, his mama, that was the woman of his life, his mama. But he was only like 13 or 14, right? No? Okay, Sarah dies, so he's 20. 30? 40? He's kind of he's wow. He's as old as the parents in the room. Wow. The middle ones. The middle ones. The older young'uns. The young old'uns? No, you're not old yet. So the older young'uns. And so he's like a grown man. He's not a kid. So his mama dies, and Abraham decides, you know what? It's time he gets a wife. Wow.
So it's up to the dad to tell him when it's time to get a wife?
Yeah.
He was old.
And he was old. No. Nope. None of this Western thought. None of this dating garbage. None of this, oh, I'm going to go live with so-and-so. Nope. Until the daddy said, see, there's something to be learned there. Maybe we aren't going to get to Rebekah. We might not get to Rebekah today. We might get to Rebekah next week. Okay, hold on to that thought. That was a good question. So, it's a good picture for us. Yep, we're going to be stuck on Isaac. Okay, so Isaac is a good picture of Yeshua. Okay, for a lot of different reasons. Isaac is a wonderful picture of Yeshua. All right, wonderful picture. Because he carried the wood, right? Remember last week we talked, he carried the wood for the burnt offering? And did Yeshua carry the beam? Not the whole cross, the beam, right? Okay, so now Isaac doesn't take a bride until when? Till his dad says. Yeah. Till his dad.
Different culture. He wasn't concerned.
Poor guy. There'd be some men going, should have waited a little longer. So in Jewish custom, well, in Middle Eastern custom, but in the Jewish custom, until the father says you're ready, till the bridegroom's home, he's prepared in his father's house an extension. Now, they were nomads, so they lived in tents, canvases, okay? But still, the room he would have built, okay? Well, if you read Rebekah's story, Isaac uses Sarah's tent. Okay? Got to read the story. So until the father says to the son, okay, son, go get your bride. That's it. Okay? No dating. I've always said that dating is a setup for divorce. Because you date this one and then you date that one. You don't like this one, I forget, drop this one, go to that one. That's a setup for divorce. We really need to get back to more of a courtship and an overseeing and an oversight where you're looking at character. Okay. Does there have to be attraction? Sure, there does. Okay. But that's not the driving force. It's character. Okay. We need to teach our youngins that if you're looking toward marriage, if you're going to do it biblically God's way, then you need to be looking for girls, you need to be looking, is he a protector? Is he negative or positive? Is he an encourager and lifts me up, or does he beat me down? Or does he be, not even you, you observe how he behaves towards others. How does he treat the young children when he's around them? Or does he? Or does he ignore them? Or is he protective of them? See, we need to be looking at character, and we need to teach our youngins to look at character. Okay? We need to look at, are they hard workers? Are they industrious? Are they providers? Do they love, here's the most important one. Do they love God? Because if you say that you love God, but then you want to go with somebody who doesn't, let me tell you right now, don't do it. You'll have a lifetime of heartache. You will have a lifetime of trouble. I speak from experience. Mine professed, but was not. Okay? It's terrible. So let's go to Rebekah. So Abraham tells his servant, I want you to go get my son a bride. Okay? This time. But I don't want you to pick a bride from this land, Canaan. Why? They're heathens. They're pagans. They're from the line of Cain. From the line of Ham. They were cursed. Don't pick a bride for my son here. We get to be grafted in. Hallelujah. That's different. I want you to go back to my homeland. Oh, let me find a picture. Remember, he started over here in Ur, and he went to Haran. God called him out of Haran, right? But who went to Haran? Did all of Abraham's brothers go to Haran? Nope. One died and one didn't go. Only the father and the nephew and the wife, right? Oh. He says, I want you to go back to my homeland, and I want you to get my son a wife from there. Remember I always talk about the Fertile Crescent? Okay, and I tell you, California, Israel is a small version of California. Actually, I should just say California is a big version of Israel, because as far as the being able to produce, okay? All right. This is Mesopotamia. This is where where Abraham came from, out of this area, okay? So his brother wasn't necessarily in Haran, all right? So he's telling him, I want you to go a long ways. So what does this servant do? Does he hem and haw, or does he like jump right to it? What do you think?
Praise.
He goes right to it, right? And he gets 10 camels. 10 camels. It's just the servant and the 10 camels, right? He doesn't take any other men with him? Well, if you read the beginning of chapter 24, it doesn't tell you. But if you keep reading, you always keep reading. It tells you there were men, okay? So he goes, and there's this thing, he makes a vow to Abraham that he's going to go, and he goes, well, what if the girl doesn't want to come? And Abraham tells him, the angel of the Lord is going to go before you, and he's going to make the path for you. And if you set this before you, and you get there, and the girl says no, then I release you of your vow. Okay? So the servant's like, okay, all right. So if I'm not successful, I'm released. But if I've tried, right? If I've done it. So he goes, and he gets to the land. He goes to the city of Nahor. Do you remember who Nahor is? Nahor is the brother of Abraham that didn't go to Ur. Or Haran, rather. He didn't go to Haran. So this servant traveled a long ways, and when he gets there, by the way, the angel of the Lord is very important. In this particular case, it means the manifestation of. Okay? So you have a manifestation of. So he gets there, and he goes, one version will tell you a spring, and one version will tell you a well. Here's the thing about wells in those days. You had to walk down into them, to the spring that's underground. You didn't have a well where you got to pull up with rope and water. Well, they might have, but most of the wells in the Middle East are you walk down to them to the spring and you drew up the water. Okay? So he went, it was the end of the day, and all the girls, the young girls, the unmarried girls go out to get water for their households. It doesn't matter if they're rich, it doesn't matter if they're poor, it doesn't matter. The young girls go out, they go to the well or the spring, and they get water for their household and take it back. So do you think it's just a little 1 gallon thing of water? No, it's a big thing of water. It's a big jug. Sometimes, but how are you going to go down? How are you going to go down this well and go down underground with 2 things? Oh, well, you might put it down and do 1 at a time and put it back up. You might do that. Some of them carried them on their shoulders. Some of them carried on their head. I don't know how to do it. I don't do that. I go to the faucet and I turn it on. Okay? Woo! Good thing. Yes, and yeah, do you thank God when you turn on your faucet? You should. It saves you a lot of work. So he's there and he's like, okay. And then all of a sudden he talks to the God of Abraham. And he goes, God of Abraham. He identifies, because there's a lot of gods, little g. He identifies, God of Abraham. He says, I'm going to ask a young maiden if she would water my camels. Or no, I'm going to ask her for a drink of water. And I'm asking you, and let the right one say, oh, and I'll water your camels. Let that be the one. And no sooner, he wasn't even done talking in his heart. He wasn't even saying it out loud. He was talking to the God of Abraham in his heart. So guess what? Can you think your prayers? Can God hear you? Oh, he hears your thoughts. Oh, my goodness. Be careful what you think. Okay. So he's not even done talking. And out come the girls. And he sees Rebekah. And she's beautiful. And he runs up to her and he goes, would you give me a drink? Sure. And she gives him a drink. Oh, and let me water your camels. How many camels are there? 10. Can camels drink a lot of water? Yeah, because they can go a long time without drinking. So when they do drink, they're going to drink a lot of water. So she's going up and down, filling this trough with water. Is she a hard worker? Does she show hospitality? What else? Tell me about Rebekah. She's beautiful. Ah, he's a youngin'. You're a youngin'. Okay. Yes. So, character. She's a servant. But she's wealthy. But she's a servant. And she's generous. And she's a hard worker. She's not afraid to do something. She's not afraid to do work. And she shows hospitality. That's a good thing to do. Okay? So that's good characteristics. So then he lavishes on her. He gives her a nose ring. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, a nose ring. Really, honest to goodness, a nose ring. And some bracelets. Okay? Jewelry is a universal language from long and thousands of years ago. Okay? And she goes and she leaves him there because she's so excited. He goes, do you have room in your father's? Does your father's house have room for me? Oh, yeah, we have lots of room. Bye! And off she goes. And she tells her brother and her mother. And then the brother comes out. And guess who the brother is? Hold on to this name because you're going to hear this name later. Her brother's name is Laban. We say Laban. Laban? It's Laban. We say Laban. Okay? Hold on to that name. Okay? That's the brother's name. And he comes out and he asks questions and he tells him all about it. And he goes, oh, come in. Don't stay out here. Come. So the 10 camels and the men and the servant all go in and they spend the night. Right? Oh, nope. They feed him first. Oh, but before they eat, the servant says, wait, before we eat, they laid everything out. This wonderful meal. He's just traveled. Aren't you hungry? You want to eat, right? But the servant says, no. I have a job to do. So he lays out the thing and he tells them all about Sarah. Sarah. Oh, do you know that Rebekah is the granddaughter of Abraham's brother? Not the daughter, the granddaughter. Isaac is the son. But that's because it took him forever to have a kid, right? So they lay it all out there. And they're like, well, let's ask her. Oh, the girl has it. See, even in Eastern culture, the girl has a choice. She can say no. She doesn't know anything about Isaac. She's never met him. She doesn't know his character other than this man who's telling. So you got to hope that he's not a narcissist and a sociopath and a pathological liar and an inveterate liar, right? Hopefully that wasn't as predominant back then, although I think they were still there. Okay? So, but they know of Abraham because that's the brother, right? The grandfather. They're in the lineage. They're relatives. All right. And she says yes. So now they eat. Now they sleep. And he gets up the next morning and goes, okay, send me on my way. Why didn't he just leave? Why didn't he just leave? Because you don't do that. But he's a guest. He came, he traveled. If he wants to go, can't he just go? No. And you'll find that all throughout Scripture. When hospitality is given to you, you leave with the permission of your host. That's foreign thought to us. Oh, man. Okay, so you're trapped. No. You're not going nowhere. No. Jim might have something to say about that. Yeah, a word or two. Yeah, a word or two. So it's a different culture. So if you want to understand Scripture, sometimes you have to understand the culture and the history, okay? All right. Like, don't choose your own wife. All right? At least try to get as close to biblical principles as you can in the West, right? It's a little difficult in our culture and our society. But at least get some oversight from people who are wise, can help and guide you, okay? All right. Parents are not your enemies in this, because they've already made the mistakes you're making. Okay? They've already made the mistakes you're making. You think I'm kidding? And I've had to live through it twice now. One generation and then the next generation. Right? Oh my goodness. You're getting on, and you're ready to live through it 3 times. Right? Every generation. Okay, so we have experience. So trust us. We're not doing things just to be mean, just to be hateful. It's because we actually really, truly do care and love you. We might go about it a little harsh, and we might not get it all right, but it's because we love you. All right? Okay. So what do you think? He says, let me go. And they're like, no, stay. And he goes, no, don't. I've accomplished my task. I've got to, let me go back to my master. Let me go back and let me finish what I've done. And they're like, well, let's call the girl. Let's ask her. Thinking, we're going to have some days with her, right? And she goes, yeah, I'll go. Right now? Yeah, I'll go. You want to leave us? Yeah, I'll go. And she goes. Wow. Faith?
That's trust right there.
Yeah. Do you think she knew of Abraham's God? I do. Does it tell us that? No. But later on, when we read more about Rebekah, she does have a conversation with him. She goes to seek counsel from the God of Abraham. Okay? So there's a certain amount of knowledge. And maybe they lived far apart. But here's the thing. They're still messengers. It's a traveling road. Look, this is Egypt. This is called the King's Highway. Because most of civilization is going to live in the Greenbelt. Why? Because there's food here and there's water here. And then there's commerce, travel. Okay? So notes and messages could be sent back and forth and you could still keep somewhat contact. It might be a year. We get on the phone, we get a text message, and if we don't get a response in 30 seconds, we're upset. Try waiting a year for a response, or 2, or 3. Okay? We need a little patience. Okay, one more thing I want you to think about. Did Sarah and Rebekah ever meet? And yet they're the matriarchs of our faith. So I'm going to jump ahead. Rebekah has a son who also goes back to go get a wife, ends up with 4. Does Rebekah ever meet her daughters-in-laws? And yet, they're the matriarchs of our faith. Food for thought. So regardless, you can follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? What if the rest of your family doesn't? Rebekah left. We know that Laban doesn't. When we meet Laban again later, we know he's not following the same God. Okay? All right? Now, if your parents follow and your grandparents follow the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, don't leave. Okay? Don't leave that path. Stay there. But if they follow something else, can you choose differently? Yeah, you can. Okay? Can you get there by the faith of your parents? How about your grandparents? Are you sure? How about you just carry this around with you? I'm saved. Are you sure? What if I just wear a cross or a star or a chai? What if it comes out of my lips, but then I go do my own thing?